Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Osman. In today's episode, the airport has important safety rules for travelers. Public meetings are planned to discuss the reconstruction of many of the county's damaged dune walkovers. And we'll take a look at the recent farm tour. Plus, Joanne Magley talks with DeBary Hall's Kayce Looper. Those segments and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. I hope you stay tuned. With the holiday season in full swing, airports across the country are experiencing their busiest time of the year. Along with increased passenger traffic, the Transportation Security Administration experiences more episodes of travelers attempting to bring prohibited items, ranging from pocket knives to firearms, through security checkpoints. In fact, passengers bringing firearms to airports remains a growing national problem, with 2,653 passengers stopped last year across the country and 3,108 stopped already this year. Thousands of pounds of voluntarily abandoned property consisting of prohibited items such as knives, brass knuckles, and hazardous materials such as household chemicals are stopped by TSA officers every year as well.
A lot of people travel in December that have not traveled before or haven't traveled since last holiday season. So there has been an escalating problem, not just here in Daytona, but across the state and across the nation, with people bringing guns to the checkpoints. It will be up to local law enforcement, in this case Volusia County Sheriff's Department, whether they are charged with a crime, but certainly they could miss their flight and they could be going to jail instead of going on that trip that they've been waiting to go on.
Along with the rule of prohibited weapons, passengers are reminded that the 3-1-1 rule still applies to carry-on bags. Liquids, gels, aerosols, creams, and pastes must be 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters or less per container and must be in one quart-sized clear plastic zip-top bag. One bag is permitted per passenger, and the plastic bag must be taken out of the suitcase and placed onto the screening bin. While making travel less stressful, these travel tips help passengers avoid civil penalties of up to $11,000. Another way to make travel less stressful is to sign up for the TSA PreCheck program, now at more than 180 airports, including DAB. Once approved, passengers will receive a known traveler number and will have the opportunity to utilize TSA PreCheck lanes at security checkpoints at participating airports. To enroll in the TSA PreCheck, you can visit Daytona Beach International Airport's website, flydaytonafirst.com, and click on the TSA banner on the homepage to go through the pre-enrollment process online. Still have questions? Visit tsa.gov to review a prohibited items list as well as pre-check information. Volusia County government lost one of its founding fathers when Tom Kelly passed away on November 29th at the age of 86. Kelly was the county's first county manager, serving from 1971 to 1994. In fact, Kelly was hired to implement the county's Home Rule Charter, which is the foundation for Volusia County's council-manager form of government.
And that's the reason why I say he was a visionary, because he had to actually set up every department. Before that, we didn't have the departments that we have today. And he had to work with department heads to make sure that his vision was carried through the department heads and working with their employees to make sure that things came about. And Volusia County has been and continues to be a model, our government, in the state of Florida and around the country because of Tom Kelly's implementation of the charter.
Friends and colleagues remember him as a dynamic leader who worked tirelessly toward making Volusia County a better place to live, work, and visit. Kelly knew each of his employees by name, and they loved him for it.
Tom was just a very positive person. He was very likable. He always had a smile on his face. He was always interested in what you were doing at that particular point in your life, and was always instrumental in helping us trying to do the right thing, and he certainly did the right thing for Volusia County.
Tom Kelly was the visionary force behind the growth of Volusia County government, and he earned a reputation for integrity and performance. After his retirement in 1994, the Volusia County Council named the county's administration building in his honor. This week, County Manager Jim Deneen and staff from Volusia County's Coastal Division will hold 3 meetings to provide an update on the dune walkover recovery efforts following Hurricane Matthew, which caused significant damage to the 126 county-maintained walkovers along the coast. The public meetings will inform residents of the plan to reopen all county-owned walkovers by the end of 2017.
A number of dune walkovers were damaged by Hurricane Matthew just a few weeks ago, and the county staff has been working hard to conduct demolition operations and reconstruction operations of as many of those as we can in as short as possible time frame as well, to again recover public access to our beautiful beaches.
Currently, 86 walkovers have been opened and 40 remain closed. The meetings will be held at the following locations: 6 p.m. Monday, December 12th at the Volusia County Lifeguard Headquarters and Administration Center at 515 South Atlantic Avenue, Daytona Beach. 6 p.m. Tuesday, December 13th at the Schnappley Recreation Center at 1101 North Atlantic Avenue in Daytona Beach. 6 p.m. Wednesday, December 14th at the Brannan Community Center at 105 South Riverside Drive in New Smyrna Beach. County Council members will be in attendance to answer questions following the presentation. For more information, you can call 386-248-8072. Some things get better with age. That's certainly the case with the annual Farm Tour, which this year celebrated its 35th anniversary. Created in 1981 as an event to put city slickers and country folks together, the Farm Tour is a day to showcase Volusia County's diverse agriculture industry. Each year, Volusia's agricultural enterprises open their doors to the public, and the hundreds of attendees are not only entertained, but they're also surprised by the many unusual agricultural operations in the county. In fact, agriculture is essential not only to our health, but also to our economic well-being. The local agricultural industry has a $781 million impact, and it represents 3% of the county's economic activity. The county's 1,100 farms cover more than 229,000 acres. They produce fruit, vegetables, honey, cattle, sod, fish, timber, and plants. This year's farm tour includes 9 stops that featured farms, ranches, and companies that produce fruit, vegetables, poultry, and even alpacas. The annual farm tour always is held the Friday before Thanksgiving and coincides with National Farm City Week. Learn more about agriculture's impact at volusia.org/agriculture. There's more to the Daytona International Speedway than meets the eye. Shelley Safranek takes us under the hood of the World Center of Racing and visits the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America in this week's Volusia Here and Now.
So we're here today at the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, which just relocated from Michigan and is now housed here at the World Center of Racing.
We're getting ready to start this 2016 season. I just feel it. It's going to be one of the best ever.
Riding the momentum of this year's debut of the $400 million Daytona Rising Project, the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America is located in the Ticket and Tours building and showcases spectacular displays honoring all forms of motorsports: stock cars, sports cars, open wheel, motorcycles, drag racing, land speed records, power boating, and aviation. Classic machines from those competitive arenas highlight the wall, along with bronze sculptures of all 230 Motorsports Hall of Fame of America inductees.
The Motorsports Hall of Fame was founded in Novi, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit. There was a famous Indianapolis race car that was called the Novi Special. Had its first induction in 1989, and really the philosophy was to create a very legitimate Hall of Fame that would gain respect, and a museum that would equal the quality of the Hall of Fame would come after that. We really never had a permanent home in Detroit. For 28 years we moved from one spot to another in kind of a temporary situation. We were in an expo center, we were in another museum, and then we had this opportunity to come to Daytona International Speedway, and that was just the best day in the history of the Hall of Fame.
The Motorsports Hall of Fame of America has an international flavor, which was one of the original goals Bill France Sr. had for the Speedway when it opened in 1959. And now that the Hall of Fame has its permanent home at the Speedway, plans are in the works to expand this historical treasure.
There's still parts of the construction of Phase 1 still going on. We have a major Phase 2, which is the Robert E. Peterson Theater. Robert E. Peterson is a publisher, or was a publisher from California, who has a great museum out in Los Angeles. There's also a foundation that gave us a major grant to help us build what you see here at the Motorsports Hall of Fame. So come the beginning of 2017, we'll dedicate that theater, and then we have further phases in the future as well.
Admission to the Motorsports Hall of Fame is included with the tours offered at the Daytona International Speedway. The tours range in price from $18 to $52 per person and last as short as 30 minutes to 3 hours. The 30-minute Speedway tour takes guests into the infield for a rare opportunity to come face-to-face with the well-known start-finish line and 31-degree high banks, or ride down pit road to get an up-close view of the pit stalls. Makes a stop at Gatorade Victory Lane, continues out across the midway on the front stretch, and ends at the Champion Daytona 500 car, which is in the same condition as the day it captured the checkered flag. Following the tour, guests get to explore the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. The 90-minute all-access tour takes you deeper into the world of racing, as it includes all of the stops on the Speedway Tour, plus offers unprecedented access to the driver's meeting room and a look inside the world's first motorsports stadium as you hop onto one of the 40 escalators and are transported into the new front stretch stadium for a stunning view of the tri-oval and infield. This tour also ends with a visit to the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. The VIP tour is a 3-hour experience like no other. It is for smaller groups and travel is by an air-conditioned bus. It includes the same access as the other 2 tours, plus a visit to the International Speedway Corporation's Archives and Research Center, where many of racing's most treasured artifacts, including Sir Malcolm Campbell's Bluebird, are stored. The VIP tour caps off the experience by a visit to the Houston Line press box overlooking the Speedway, before concluding with an up-close look at the Champion Daytona 500 car and access to the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America.
Right now, we have the bronze plaques of 230 achievers in all forms of motorsports that are inspirational for us all. We have examples of iconic vehicles, from antique race cars to motorcycles to sports cars to a couple Indianapolis 500 winning cars. The history of this area in motorsports goes back to the very beginning, and so we think that the fact that people will be able to see not only the history of the area but how motorsports has evolved across the country, I think is going to be very compelling for people.
For access to the Motorsports Hall of Fame, please check out the Daytona International Speedway's tour page online at www.daytonainternationalspeedway.com/tours. To learn more about the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, visit www.mshf.com. For Volusia Here and Now, I'm Shelley Safranek.
Get ready to start your engines for the Daytona Beach Half Marathon. February 5th, experience the race that takes you to the Speedway Beach and back. Start at the World Center of Racing's flat asphalt track, through beautiful Daytona Beach, over the Halifax River, onto the hard-packed sands of the world's most famous beach, then back to Daytona International Speedway for a checkered flag finish. Register online at DaytonaBeachHalf.com.
In Community Health Matters, we will look at the medical issues affecting the residents of Volusia County.
My face represents love. My face represents hope. My face represents sorrow. My face represents equality. My face represents a mom. My face represents a wife. My face represents a grandma. And my face represents HIV.
Tracy Dannemiller has shared her face with more than 15,000 people around the state. She's doing it through the Faces of HIV exhibit. Dannemiller is one of 15 people infected with HIV who has agreed to tell her very private story in a very public way.
As hard as that is for me to share with people, I do that for a couple different reasons. One, if they or someone they know has been caught up in the cycle of making bad choices, they can change, and I encourage them. I know they can change because I chose to change. But I also share with them that that one bad choice not only gave me something called HIV I'll have to live with the rest of my life, but carried over to one of my 6 beautiful children.
Daytona Beach resident Jack Garcia also is featured in the mobile art exhibit. When the Faces of HIV is in the area, he takes the time to greet people touring the exhibit. He shares his story and answers questions that can be very personal, if not difficult.
It wasn't easy, but I knew it had to be done because the more people that come out and are honest and talk about it, it's easier for the community to understand and learn from our stories on how it's affected us and how we can help people avoid catching HIV or AIDS.
It's these personal stories that make this Florida Department of Health Awareness Project unique. Tara Rusikoff travels with the exhibit and sees firsthand how it reaches people individually.
The premise is that if I get you into that exhibit, I can find someone you can connect with. You know, we've got a soccer mom with 6 kids. We've got, a guy who was an EMT who had an occupational exposure. It really runs the gamut.
It's the participants themselves who really open up the discussion. Recently, the exhibit was on the campus of Stetson University. Students engaged with the people behind the faces on the wall and even offered support.
You're welcome. It's all about raising that awareness to, one, provide people that proper education so they don't have to be filling these shoes, but if they or someone they know is already filling them, it's to provide hope and encouragement.
This exhibit is not geared toward any particular group or age. Rusikoff says the education can be tailored for whomever steps through the doors.
Age-wise, we can hit anyone because the exhibit is basic. What you've got inside are the portraits, and we have videos, and we have journals. So I can go to a community event, and I can talk to a 5-year-old child about, these people are sick, you don't see it. But they are sick, and we have to respect that. And I can come to a college campus, and I can broaden that conversation to someone in their early 20s, and we can talk about methods of transmission and how to prevent it, and how it knows no bounds.
The walls of this free exhibit are covered with different faces, different stories, but the key message is the same across all of them. Garcia sums it up in 3 short phrases.
Get tested, know your status, and protect yourself.
If you'd like more information on HIV prevention, testing, resources, or even living with this disease, visit the website. It's called stopthespread.com. That's stopthespread.com. For the Florida Department of Health in Volusia County, I'm Dr. Holly Smith.
And now it's time to head into the studio to join the Director of Community Information, Joanne Magley, and her guest, Kayce Looper, manager of DeBary Hall Historic Site.
DeBary Hall in southwest Volusia County is a history showcase of what life was like in the steamboat days on the St. Johns River. The one-time winter mansion of New York wine importer Frederick DeBary, DeBary Hall is a historic site managed by Volusia County's Parks, Recreation, and Culture Division. So with us today in the studio for an update on DeBary Hall is Kayce Looper, manager of DeBary Hall. Hi, Kayce.
Hi.
Thanks for being here. And welcome. This is the first time we're interviewing you on Volusia Magazine, as you are the newest manager of DeBary Hall Historic Site. So welcome here. Let's get started with some background. For those people who may not be familiar with DeBary Hall, give us a little description of what it is.
Sure. DeBary Hall is a historic home built in 1871. It was the winter retreat for Frederick DeBary and his family and business associates. It is a very large, old, historic home, all hardwood pine throughout, and we've done our best to sort of capture that time period and be able to show that to guests and students.
So give us a little more about Frederick DeBary. He was one of America's elite in his day, as I understand it.
Very much so. He was an importer. He did wine, champagne, sparkling water, a lot of the finer things from Europe, and sold those to, the very famous names of the time period, Rockefeller, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. So. And does he have any family that is descendants that are still alive today?
Yes. The only remaining family are all still in Europe. There are no American descendants left.
So DeBary Hall is owned by the state, but as I mentioned earlier, it's the county leases the hall. How does that arrangement work?
Well, in the late 90s, there was a strong push for someone to take over DeBary Hall. It had been under various organizations and was in need of some tender loving care. And so the county stepped in and created an agreement with the state where they would take it over and maintain it and run it as a museum.
And is this also the time when the county took it over? Is this when an extensive renovation took place at that time as well, or did that come a little later?
It started at that point in time and continued for several years based on grant work and funding.
What went into it to kind of get it to where we are today?
Well, it was definitely a combined effort of a lot of different wonderful people who were concerned with seeing the hall restored and seeing the hall preserved. So Volusia County had a huge part in that, obviously, as well as the state of Florida, and then various volunteers and volunteer organizations that worked with us as well.
And one of the restoration projects was the barn, and I know that gives DeBary Hall an ability now to host a lot of events because the barn is a great gathering place.
Absolutely. The barn is our rental space. It is a fully restored hardwood floor venue. We use it a lot for weddings. We have a lot of parties out there. The Rotary Club occasionally uses it, but it's been very, very nice to have for the community.
So what do you have in store for visitors over, I guess, the winter season?
This is a great time of year to come. The weather is very cooperative right now for us, and we love the holiday season out there. What we're doing currently is we have candlelight tours that are offered in the evening. We offer tours through the mansion by our Christmas lights. We have holiday music playing, and then at the end we have European cookies and hot chocolate and cider.
Is DeBary Hall lit up the entire season, or?
Usually we try to have everything up by Thanksgiving, and then we keep everything up through the first week in January.
Okay. And tell us about some other programs that you have at DeBary Hall.
Oh, absolutely. DeBary Hall is the base location for the Echo Rangers, which is a county-run children's program emphasizing the environmental, cultural, historical, and outdoor resources that we have in the county. We also have a Lemonade lecture series that meets twice a month and covers many, many different topics. It's completely free to the public with refreshments. We have a Master Gardener lecture that takes place once a month about different native Florida topics for homeowners and their yards.
Another feature of DeBary Hall is the theater, in which you show a film about the history of DeBary Hall and the St. Johns River. So tell us a little bit about what people can expect when they go into that theater.
Our Imaginome Theater is definitely an experience. we show a film titled Into Tropical Florida, and it's a simulated steamboat ride. So our guests are now invited guests of Frederick DeBary, and they board his steamship and basically ride a 15-minute simulation ending at the dock at Lake Monroe for their visit to DeBary Hall.
And in that film, I'm sure there's a number of historical facts and little nuggets along the way about his life and really the area, that time period.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There was a famous author who lived down here at the time. That was a kind of a wild time in Florida, so there's a lot of information packed into that video.
There's a very strong Friends group that's associated with DeBary Hall. What does the Friends group do in order to help with the programming and just the day-to-day operation?
Well, our Friends group is growing. We're always looking for new members. They are wonderful for helping to try to provide funding for Echo Rangers and a lot of our other programs. They're also great for helping out with things like extra Christmas decorations. You know, they're very much a resource for almost anything we need. So.
And back to the special programs that you do throughout the year, you kind of do something special for a number of different holidays, right?
Correct, yes. Especially at Halloween, we get a little bit overrun. We do candlelight legends tours where we go through the house again at night. Those are the only 2 times of the year we offer that nighttime touring, but we do it by flameless candle and talk about all the legends and things that surround the house.
So give us a little insight into some of those legends, because I've heard, have I heard correctly that some people say that it may be haunted?
We get that a lot. I think most of the staff would tell you you're probably not wrong. So.
Okay. Well, DeBary Hall is definitely a beautiful facility and a historic facility, and no wonder why a lot of people, it's a great place to have a wedding or really any special function. It's just a very unique property here in Volusia County.
Absolutely.
So how can people get more information about coming for a visit or maybe having a group outing there?
Well, we are located under the Parks and Recreation website with Volusia County. Our office phone is 386-668-3840, or they can always email the office as well.
All right. Well, Kayce Looper, manager of DeBary Hall, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Amber, back to you.
Thanks, Joanne, and thank you too for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. Incidentally, you can find the County Council's meeting calendar there too. In fact, you can use volusia.org to find out about meeting dates, workshops, topics of interest, activities, and how you can become involved. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Osmond. Have a wonderful evening.